Imagine being at the top of your game, breaking records left and right, and still getting hate for your race. That's the reality for some WNBA stars. Cari champion's spilling the tea on her podcast, and you won't believe what she's saying about Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and the dark side of success in women's basketball. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You know what's crazy? Women's basketball is blowing up right now. The NCAA Finals just hit a record 19 million viewers. That's insane. It's like everyone suddenly realized how awesome these women are. But with all that fame comes some serious drama. Let's talk about what's really going on behind the scenes. We're gonna look at the good, the bad, and the ugly of WNBA success. And trust me, you're not ready for what Cari's about to reveal. It's a wild ride of rivalries, racial tension, and record-breaking plays. Buckle up, because this story is about to get real. Remember Magic versus Bird? The WNBA's got its own version brewing, and it's causing a stir. But here's the kicker. This rivalry isn't just about who's got the better jumper. There's a whole other game being played off the court, and it's way more complicated than you'd think. Cari champion's dropping some truth bombs about the Clark-Reese rivalry, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. She's saying this face-off is actually good for the WNBA. Rivalry is not a bad thing, Champion points out. And she's right. Just like Magic and Bird lit up the NBA, Clark and Reese are bringing serious heat to women's basketball. But here's where things get messy. It's not just about who's sinking more threes or grabbing more rebounds. There's this whole racial dynamic at play, and it's causing major drama. Champion's breaking it down, saying, if you're black, I'm riding with Angel, and if you're white, I'm riding with Caitlin. It's like the media's trying to turn this into some kind of racial showdown. You know what's wild? This isn't even new. The media's been pitting black and white athletes against each other forever. It's like they can't help themselves. Champion's not holding back, saying, this country is just built on race. It's a harsh truth, but she's got a point. Now, let's talk about the pressure these women are under. It's not just about playing ball anymore. Angel Reese is dealing with a whole different set of expectations just because she's black. Champion drops this bomb. As a black woman, we already define who you are. Can you imagine trying to ball out with all that weight on your shoulders? But here's the thing. This rivalry might actually be changing the game. Not just on the court, but in how we talk about women's sports. Champion's saying something big here. When it comes to Caitlin Clark, the skill set will be the first thing when you think about Caitlin Clark. That's huge. It means we're finally focusing on talent, not just race. So yeah, this Clark-Reese rivalry is complicated. It's got all this racial tension, media drama, and societal pressure mixed in. But at the end of the day, it's pushing women's basketball into the spotlight. And that's something we can all cheer for. Here's a wild thought. What if your biggest win became your biggest nightmare? That's exactly what's happening to some of the WNBA's brightest stars. They're crushing it on the court, but off the court, it's a whole different ballgame. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese are dominating headlines, but not just for their insane skills. These women are dealing with some serious heat off the court. We're talking death threats and non-stop harassment. Can you believe that? These players are making history. And instead of celebrating, they're looking over their shoulders. It's not just about the game anymore. These women are facing challenges that go way beyond the basketball court. Cari champion's not holding back on this one. She's pointing out how differently male and female athletes are treated. It's like there's this unwritten rule book that says women can't show the same fire as men. Think about it. When a guy trash talks or gets competitive, it's all part of the game. But when a woman does it, suddenly she's too aggressive or unsportsmanlike. Champion's calling out this double standard, and she's got a point. Why can't women express their frustration without getting torn apart? And let's talk about Angel Reese for a second. This girl just had the moment of her life, right? She should be on top of the world. But Champion's dropping some truth bombs about how the media's treating her. She says, Angel had the best moment of her life, and they wouldn't even celebrate this queen. Can you imagine achieving your dreams and not even getting a proper celebration? It's not just about the lack of recognition. These players are dealing with some serious security issues. Champions saying, we need better protection for WNBA players, especially stars like Clark and Reese. They're getting hit with so much hate and harassment from fans, it's insane. But here's the thing, this isn't just a WNBA problem, it's bigger than that. Champions pointing out that success in sports comes with a price, especially for women. And if you're a woman of color, that price tag just gets higher. So what's the deal? Why are these incredible athletes facing so much hate? Is it because they're women? Because they're successful? Or is it something deeper? Champion's not shying away from these tough questions. She's putting it all out there, making us think about why we treat female athletes so differently. But it's not all doom and gloom. This conversation is shining a light on a problem that's been in the shadows for too long. By talking about it, we're taking the first step towards change. Maybe, just maybe, we can start treating these women with the respect they deserve. Change is in the air, and it's not just about equal treatment. What if the next big revolution in basketball isn't happening in the NBA, but right under our noses in women's sports? Cari Champion's got some insights that might just change the way you see the future of the game. You've heard about Caitlin Clark's insane long-distance shooting, right? Well, it's not just breaking records, it's completely changing how women's basketball is played. This girl is making shots from half-court look easy, and fans are going wild for it. It's like she's brought a whole new level of excitement to the game. But Clark's not the only one shaking things up. There are some serious rising stars coming up in the ranks. Have you heard of Paige Beckers and Juju Watkins? These girls are about to hit the scene like a tornado. They've got skills that'll make your head spin, and they're bringing their own unique flavors to the court. Now you might be thinking, okay, but the WNBA's still got a long way to go, right? And you're not wrong. There are still some big hurdles to jump. The league's got to figure out how to really embrace their players' identities. It's not just about the game anymore, it's about the whole package. And let's talk about marketing for a second. The WNBA needs to step up its game if it wants to catch more eyes. They've got these amazing athletes, but they're not always showing them off in the best way. It's like having a Ferrari and keeping it in the garage. They need to get these stars out there, front and center. But here's where things get really interesting. Cari Champion's saying that despite these challenges, the WNBA is on the verge of something big. She's predicting that in the next few years, we're going to see the league rake in some serious cash. We're talking about the kind of money that'll make people sit up and take notice. And it's not just about the money. Champion thinks the WNBA is about to get a whole lot more competitive with the NBA. Can you imagine? Two basketball leagues going head-to-head, both pulling in massive crowds and big bucks. It's like we're on the brink of a whole new era in sports. You know what's funny? This growth kind of reminds Champion of the early days of the NBA. Think about it. There was a time when pro men's basketball wasn't the big deal it is now. But look at it today. The WNBA might be following the same path, just at a different time. So what's driving all this change? It's the stories, the drama, the personalities. People are starting to realize that these women aren't just athletes, they're stars. They've got backstories that'll make you laugh, cry, and everything in between, and fans are eating it up. But let's be real for a second. This change isn't gonna happen overnight. It's gonna take time, effort, and a whole lot of support from fans like us. The WNBA needs people in its corner, cheering it on and showing up for games. Let's talk about the real issues in the WNBA. It's not just about who's scoring the most points. We've got racial drama, players getting threats, and a whole mess of double standards. But you know what? Things are changing, and it's time we all got on board. The WNBA's stepping up its game, embracing player identities, and pushing for more diversity. That's huge, but they need our help to make it stick. Here's what you can do. Follow different WNBA players, not just the ones that look like you. Watch the games, buy the merch, and show these women some love. It's time to change the game for real. Let's show the world that skill is what matters, not skin color. Support these amazing athletes, call out the double standards, and help make women's basketball the big deal it deserves to be. Together, we can make the WNBA unstoppable.